Welcome to Talladega Super Speedway here in the truck. This is going to be carnage. Welcome to Dega. It's always, when will the big one happen? Not if it will happen in this. I'm joined by Brandon here again. Now, Brandon, what do you think you're going to see from this race? What do you expect to see here at Talladega tonight?
It's going to be calamity. I expect to see some of that. Again, you said it. It's not a matter of if, but when the big one does strike, and at what point in the race it does. And after last week, we seen what was a tough Atlanta race with these drivers in the Xfinity car. Tonight's going to be a little bit easier. I suspect three wide through some parts of this race, definitely side by side, but it's going to be a matter of when, not if, the big one strikes.
Yeah, so these guys have done their qualifying. I'll pull up the starting order here right now. We'll go all the way back to the top because I'm currently on the bottom. So Steve Blevins takes home the pole. Frank Chavez second. Jeffrey Goodpaster third. Fourth, Kirby Wainscott fifth. Frank Marquise, that's how you say his name. Sixth, Austin Norris. Seventh, Brandon Biddy. Eighth, Chris Goxel. Ninth, Zachary Baker. 10th, Terry Fennell. 11th, Greg McConey. 12th, Barry Nelson. 13th, David Nall. 14th, Danny Jackson. 15th, Truth Hoke. 16th, Mike Fudge. 17th, Timothy Yisprin. 18th was Brett Bray. 19th will be Pete Polini. 20th, Troy Thomas. 21st, Steve Vest. 22nd, Blake Davis. 23rd, Aaron Marcus. 24th, Ryan DeMullen. 25th, Andrew Teff. 26th, Matthew Monak. 27th, Steve Castle. That's not, I'm saying that wrong. Just barely. And then 20th is Jack Kelly. I think that's actually race control as drivers have rolled off of the grid. Going to give them all a paint refresh here one last time because I know some paints are not showing correctly on my end for that. And I just want to make sure that everybody does get their paint loaded in. So that they'll go to a gray truck and then a little bit later on they will kind of pop up with their paint scheme. You may see it periodically throughout the race because sometimes trading paints does take a little bit to catch up on the paint schemes. Kind of some standings here. So right now, top of the standings is that correct? Series Chase, there it is. So Teft and Norris first and second. Third is Daniel Jackson. Fourth, Troy Thomas. Fifth, Steve Best. Sixth is Kirby Wainscott with a win. He has already advanced. So Teft and Norris have advanced. So has Wainscott with a win. On the bubble right now is Davis. He is 12th. Kelly actually tied with Davis and Steve Blevins. Yisprin is 4. FedEx is 5 back. And Carter is 14 back. And then it's 15, 17, 19, 26. So they are all close on points. Everybody is bunched together. Nobody has been able to stretch out their lead over anyone so far.
Bryce, when it comes to the points battle, one name that you said there that's kind of on the bubble is starting on the pole. It's going to be Steve Blevins. So we'll keep an eye on him throughout the night to see what kind of points maybe he can gain and then see if he can win from the front row.
Yeah, it's always winning's. It can solve a lot of things. I think drivers have realized that as pace car will pull in here, starter's going to have the flag in his hand and take a long, long way around Talladega as they enter the Geico restart zone. And the green flag is in the air. We are underway here.
Very quickly, you see the front row just side by side. The bottom side looks to be a little bit more linked up than the outside. I expected them to get a little bit better run through the 1 and 2 approaching that long back straightaway. You could see there, Bryce, the 51, the 6, 24, a little bit more linked up than the 13, 10, and the 50 on the outside.
These guys will go down the backstretch here, and it looks like most of them, I think early on especially, we'll see most of them just kind of tucked down behind each other, maybe running one line. I don't think we'll see a lot of racing too often, maybe kind of laying off on the pushes here. I think that's what would be the smart thing, but again, these guys are racers. They want to get as many positions as possible. But Blevins looks like he will try to lead this first lap. He's got the 6 behind him coming with a pretty strong shove. So he's able to get that, and it looks like he will. So good for him.
Yeah, Blevins will lead that first lap, and I think you're right, Bryce. Patience, right? Especially in a race like this, is we see the six, a good passenger, move to the outside of Blevins. He's going to be looking to take over the top spot as they enter turn 3 off the back straightaway.
It looks like we got really kind of split pretty evenly across the whole lane. It looks like it's more kind of on the bottom right now. I think these guys can get like 75% fuel, I believe. They'll be splitting it about lap 32 to 33-ish, somewhere around that area. I think that's the when they'll have to come down pit road or fuel. Tires are not really a huge factor, as they just don't wear well, they do wear, but they don't affect the trucks as much as other tracks would. So you can actually get away with taking no tires for the whole race if you want to, and just doing fuel only.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time, I know for me, I don't know about you, Bryce, but for me, when I come in and get a full tank of fuel, now it could be different because you mentioned they said they're only going to have about 75% worth of fuel in these trucks tonight. That being the case, a no tire call with fuel only might be the way to go. On 100% though, I typically take lefts and then the next time rights, vice versa. However we plan to play it out, just to make sure that we get enough time to get the fuel in. But tires, you're absolutely correct. It's not going to matter if Blevins will lead another lap here.
Yeah, the tires. I mean, if you get a full tank of fuel, it can't hurt to take 2. You can take 4 if you want. You'll be sitting in your pits a little bit longer, and it's really key to come out with somebody, and not taking tires will kind of bump up that chance of you coming out with people. If you do decide to take tires, your chance kind of goes down a little bit because they could not take tires. They could be fuel only. If that holds you for a second longer, then that's a second getting off pit road, and you've lost the draft of the car in front of you. It means so much to keep the draft at these tracks. You have to come out with somebody. So taking only fuel is the best bet, but some guys, they will kind of roll the dice, just take 2 sometimes if they feel like it.
Yeah, track position is not typically one thing that we talk about when it comes to super speedways, but it is a very real thing. You want to pit somewhere, or at least with somebody, but you're going to want to be at least probably within the first, I'm going to say 5 to 10 cars, in this case tonight, trucks, just because track position is going to be key. And then also too, Bryce, to think about it, generating a run with these trucks on the third line, right? I don't know how much of that we may see tonight. We may see it some, but you're going to want to be within at least top 5, top 10 to try to position yourself ultimately to have a shot to win this thing at the end.
So we kind of got a little bit of a group back here that's kind of formed. I don't know if they've done this on purpose. It's Hassel, Kelly, Davis, 48. Matthews back here also. I thought he was a lap down for a second there, but I'm just wrong on that in all aspects. I think it's pretty even all throughout. We don't see super side hard drafts. It looks like the 51, he's pretty much stuck to the bottom. I don't think he's going to be moving off that bottom at all. I think that's the smart move to make also here. I wouldn't move off the bottom if you're just trying to save fuel and just ride around right now at the moment. If you want to try to make passes, I mean, you're going to have to go to the outside middle. I don't think we'll see a third lane until way later in the race here.
Yeah, I know typically when I run super speedways, I try to run the bottom. I feel like that's the more safe area, right? You at least got a little bit of an area towards the bottom side of the racetrack. If calamity breaks out, down the back straightaway, you got kind of area to try over. You got some area, try to protect your race car. Outside, you don't really have all that much room, right? You're just kind of stuck where you are, and very easily can get tied up in someone else's mess. So right now, patience is going to be a virtue. These guys are doing a good job at that. And it's just going to be a, ride and safe fuel type of race, right? I mean, you called it, 30-ish laps, 30, 35 laps on a tank of fuel. So we got 94, I think we got to cover tonight on laps. And so, patience.
Yeah, and the one thing, too, is with this 51 and this 6 leading these lines, this leader, whoever's leading that line is going to start burning a lot more fuel than the guys behind them. So we got to keep that in mind, that they're going to have to pit way earlier than the guys behind them, so that can mess up their strategy. Now, the guys behind them that are running half throttle, they can go 5 laps further sometimes, I've seen. But, I mean, iRacing, they calculated off how much fuel you're burning. The guys up front are foot to the floor. The guys in line are somewhat foot to the floor, but they're being pulled around. They're cracking the throttle every now and then, just trying to get the cars to, you know, car, truck, same thing, close enough. But they're not trying to run into the person in front of them. They're not trying to get past either. So they're kind of running in this weird zone where you're keeping up, but you're also cracking the throttle all the time, just because the draft is pulling you forward and they're improving their fuel mileage because of that.
Yeah, right now, the best seat to have is going to be somewhere around Chavez, Norris, Wayne Scott, that area. They're going to be at optimal, what I would call fuel saving. Just because where they are in the draft, they're going to be able to you know, just very easily control what they're doing, how much fuel they're burning. You're absolutely correct. Blevins and Goodpaster leading those two lines, they're going to be burning fuel. And again, you talked about it. You don't want to come down pit road alone, right? So you're going to want to have somebody to come with, and hopefully maybe those guys, you know, have a couple of teammates out there that they'll be able to work with once they do hit pit road. But they are on a fuel burning mode right now, because they're leading the lines.
I'll have to see what it goes on. It's got a little bit of a gap here for him now. This 35. I don't know if he's just laying off. And for Baker, I don't think anything major is happening around him. I think he's okay. That's a little bit odd. He can lay off as much. They're scattering a little bit more behind him. I think these guys have gotten it formed back up here. They're currently running. They're running 51.42's top speed this race has been 209. That was Aaron Marcus. Looks like that was probably a catch-up lap where he was kind of drafting up to the guys in front of him. As a 48 of Matthew jump out of line. Looks like he may just want to go to the back. And this is, I don't know if you noticed this, but I mean, you've been probably watching NASCAR way longer than me. You don't see drivers anymore go to the back at super speedways on purpose. I remember Jeff Gordon. I was a Gordon fan growing up, but you would see guys purposely pull out of line and go to the back because they just didn't want to be involved up front. But I feel like you just don't see that at super speedways. Everybody's fighting for position, and that's kind of a lost art, just realizing, hey, I'm going to drop out and go to the very back with it.
Yeah, outside Gordon, there's two other names that kind of stand out to me that you know, super speedways that'll do that. Hamlin being one of them, Keselowski being another one. But you're absolutely correct. And again, I think that comes down to, Bryce, that track position is key, right? You're not going to win this race from, and I could be wrong, and unless the big one happens, if you're outside the top, let's say, you know, 10, and that might even be a far shot, it's going to be really hard to win one of these super speedway races. So track position has really started to become key, and a lot of drivers, you had drivers that would want to run in the front because they were, you know, in their minds, that's less likely for where, you know, a lot of issues is going to happen. But then you would have guys like Gordon, Keselowski, Hamlin, Newman even, would even just kind of work their way towards the back, just, you know, just fall back, let it ride, because, again, it's not a matter of if, but when the big one happens.
Yeah, I feel like with next gen, it's definitely more pronounced. But I think some of these older vehicles, I say older, but the trucks and the Xfinity cars, we still see it to this day. But they've been pretty calm all throughout. And I'm surprised by that, just a little bit, not a lot though. But I think they're going to stay up high here. They're still 12 laps in. I keep wondering if this 51 will duck back out and actually let these guys lead instead of leading the line himself, just because he's going to get really hurt leading fuel-wise like this. Just have to see what he does.
I would think Blevins, Goodpaster, even the 24, right? The 24 is going to be burning. Now, it's all good. What the 51 does is going to be really off the bumper of the 24 and the 707 as well, right? Because that's where a lot of those runs are going to generate from. And so I would think along with the 51 and the 6 of Good Pastor, the 24, maybe even the 707, the 13. I can't tell who the third line-in truck is out there. I believe that's the 10 of Wayne Scott on the outside. Those guys are probably burning the most fuel, I would think. At least the front four, anyway.
Yeah, I would really be looking at 11 and Good Pastor. I don't think the 24 is hurting because he's right behind him. He's actually kind of in this position where if he slows down, it's just going to slow down the people behind him. They're boxed in. They can't go anywhere. You're not going to go yellow line unless you want to cause an absolute wreck, which there is no, technically there's no yellow line rule in iRacing. That's not enforced by the system. RC enforces that. I don't know if they enforce it in this league or not. They probably do. But you can go down there, if you're gutsy enough, and cause a wreck. But Matthew just ran the fastest. What in the world? He ran at 50.39. That is a tenth faster than everybody else. We do have the third line forming the 3. Troy Thomas has hopped up into that high line. Looks like he's got Greg McConey coming behind him, trying to give him a shove as good as he can. Looks like, as soon as I say that line will form up, they have thrown out the way. They just do not want to go with him again. They're all by their lonesome as they're trying to actually cut that line off here. Have to put each other in the wall if they're not careful, but Troy doing it on his own almost here, going to the front.
Yeah, and you can do that off that third lane, right? You can see there now he's going to have at least someone. I believe that's going to be Good Pastor. It's going to bounce up there in front of him. You can make up some good time on that third line. But the problem is going to be is now you're going to see, and you can see it right here, right? So now the side draft is really going to start pulling this back somewhat from about the first 4 or 5 cars, and now you can see that one's just completely stalled out.
Yeah, see, Good Pastor. He went all the way up high, and he just lost all that position. That will put Chavez leading this middle row now, lap 16 of 94. Yeah, it looks like, I think they're going to have to fall back in line here. I don't think they're going to be able to do anything.
Now, this might not necessarily be a bad thing for the 6 of Good Pastor, right? Because we know he was leading the line. We know he's probably burned more fuel than anyone else outside of Blevins. And so this is not necessarily a bad thing if he can get in line. That was really close there with the 89 kind of squeezing up there. But, yeah, this is not necessarily going to be a bad thing. Although he is going to lose all that track position. But if
there you go. I knew that was going to happen. There it is.
Yep.
I was waiting for it. Gets turned by the 89. I saw that 89. He kept going up there. That's Ryan DeMullen. And the 17 Archer Break Weekly submission right there. I knew that was going to eventually happen. That 89, he kept bobbling and going up towards that high line. He eventually just bit the 6. As the 6 rolls off, we'll go back and look at that. But I was waiting for it there going to the trials. We'll see. I don't know if he's hitting the apron, not apron, if he's bottoming out or not, but it looks like he's trying to side draft here a little bit. But I knew that was going to eventually happen. I was just waiting for it. I can't tell if he's trying to side draft or if he's just not over aware that there's a car on his outside, but he actually gets away with some of the least damage from that in the 6. You can hear that behind. He gets turned there again by the 17. That's a fast repair going to be popped for the 6 there. But I was waiting for that to happen. That's heavy left front damage on him.
Yeah, that kind of started back in 3 and 4 before they even got towards the trial. Bryce, if you think about it, we were in the middle of that conversation. The 89 kind of drifted up on the 6 there a little bit, and then we would just happen to be on it live when it happened. But that's not the big one. The big one's still yet to come. And I do agree. That's probably going to be a fast repair for the 6, probably the 17 even.
I don't know about the 17. I think he can get most of his damage fixed just looking at it. Yeah, I think he'll actually he should save his fast repair because it looks like he's got not that bad of damage. That's everybody's going to come down pit road. Got some on the spoiler or on the fender, but it's not on the spoiler. Got it on the right front, but it looks like that can actually really be pulled out and beat down. So I think he should be fine. I don't think that he will be needing his fast repair. Now, one thing, this is kind of something that me and you probably know, uncheck your fast repair. Because it
Yes.
automatically checks it, and if you have a second of damage, it will use it.
Yeah. I've been bitten by that a few times.
And I know it's been forever since I've ran a league race, but I always make sure to uncheck it. And I think there's something you can do in your iRacing files that'll stop it from doing that. But that's one of the most annoying things for a driver is the fast repair. I mean, it gives you a new car, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so great. And then you go to use it late in the race, and you're like, wait, where's it at? And then you realize it used my fast repair early on, and it will absolutely ruin your day because you just did not know that was going to happen. So these guys have probably unchecked that, hopefully, for them.
Yeah, I've been bit. I've been bit by that a few times. That is a gut wrench feeling, right? When you're coming down to let's say final 10, 15 laps, and you're like, okay, I need to use this, and then you don't have it readily available, and so. Yeah, I've been bitten by that a few times, and I've actually had to learn to uncheck that fast repair the hard way. So
Most of these guys,
good racing so far.
yes, I'm trying to see what the pit times were. One of them has not came to pit road. That was Matthew. Looks like everybody else was basically. I would take 4 tires. Well, I'd take 4 tires here, but a lot of them seems to be at least 2 tires. But I know for sure they're full on fuel as Matthew will come down pit road. So he may have just missed pit entrance there when he was driving around. That can happen sometimes. Just miss it, and you're not going to get hurt coming back down here at all. So we'll just have to see. I mean, he'll cycle out to the very, very back, but he should be fine.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just taking a look at the pit times here, and I'm seeing a lot of 8.5, 9-second pit stops. That probably tells me there's going to be 2 tires of fuel. I see some 11s, some couple 15s. We touched on it. Tires is not going to be a major factor in this. Not as much as it would be anywhere else. That's for sure. The biggest thing though is going to be the fuel, right? 75% fuel is going to be the big thing to it.
Yeah, the biggest mover this race is Davis. Well, it's almost weird to say biggest mover because it's a super speedway. It really doesn't matter. But he's up 14 spots, currently sitting in 8, so he qualified 22nd, running a Frosted Flakes. I think I've barely ate Frosted Flakes in my whole entire life. I don't know why it's still a paint scheme, but I think it's more of a throwback paint scheme there. You got a Red Bull, but looks like, yeah, lights are off on the pace car here. Guys, we'll go back green. Taft already got a win in this series so far as, like McConey's getting caught up here to wherever he needs to be. Looks like he'll slot in right here most likely, as he will. We'll get the green flag at lap 20. That will leave us 74 laps in the race, as they are actually back under yellow at Daytona. I'll be at Darlington next week, so hopefully Larson doesn't repeat what he did whatever month it was we're at Darlington, because I'll be pissed.
Nothing like a Labor Day weekend at Darlington, man.
That'll be my first time going to Darlington. I've been to Bristol, Martinsville, Richmond once. I went to Atlanta this season where I was at the Coke 600. Didn't end up well, though, because the driver got wrecked out. But lights are off in the pace car, entering the restart zone as the green flag is in the air. We are underway here. That may be a penalty.
Yeah, that very well could be. He very quickly did the 707. Try to get to the bottom line there in between the 51 and 13 of Blevins and Chavez.
Yep,
we'll see what race
it.
control says.
I'm seeing the black flag already right now on my end.
Yeah, I do see the 707 is being showed the black flag. I see it in my race control just the same as you do, Bryce. So that will have to be a drive. I believe it's going to be a drive-through penalty, is it not?
I think it's a drive-through penalty. I believe on that one. Yes, no, it is. Because I think all restart violations are a drive-through. The reason I know that is because I ran like Michigan this year, and I'm not somebody who can go out and set a heater lap, but I won the pole. Rajah Caruso was actually in this race, and I jumped the start like an idiot as the leader, and it was just a pass-through penalty. So I think that's what he'll have to serve here. Still hasn't served it yet. Wait, do we got two of them? We got two.
Yeah, he went down pit road. He is on pit road.
Terry also has one here for some reason. So that's interesting.
You are right. Yeah, Terry has been showed the black flag as well. And, 50 Black Rifle Coffee, is that what that is? I can't really tell.
Yeah, that's a Black Rifle camo truck is what it looks like from my end, at least. See if he goes down pit road this time. Yep, there he goes. He ducks out.
Yep.
I don't know what they're getting. It has to be switching lanes before the start-finish line. And that's one of the most annoying things, not at super speedways, but at most tracks, because, like, iRacing's not perfect, so you can get a black flag for, avoiding somebody spinning their tires if you go and pass them on the inside, which is, gosh, that is one of the most annoying things to deal with. But I think that was most likely they were getting down to the bottom just way too quickly for iRacing's liking, which we saw with Chris. Chris just flat out did it. There's no getting around that. I'm having to guess that Terry was the exact same thing. There's no way it wasn't.
Back towards the front here, Bryce. A little bit of a swap out front, right? Norris has since taken over the top spot. When I take a look at these top four, you got Davis, Hope, Norris, and Blevins. And then out of nowhere, here comes the 16 of Greg McConey. We've seen him tied up in that accident that we had in the caution, and now he's coming towards the front.
It looks like they shucked that 11 out, but Teft is going to come to the rescue to Davis. So he'll come down to the middle. Hope will be stuck outside. Now it depends on who wants to go where. Do you go with this middle line? Do you go with this high line? It will definitely vary for sure, as it looks like pretty even split. Teft is all over the bumper, that 11, though. The only thing with Teft is he doesn't have any help from behind, so he just doesn't have another arrow push to help him out here. We got to keep that in mind when we're watching it.
Yeah, you're right, but he is going to get a little bit of help because help is coming right there behind him. So they're going to have about 4 trucks now on the middle lane, 4 to 5 on that outside lane. The 5th truck not really doing much to help them, as we're 3 by 3 by 3 for about 4 rows here. But like big wreck, Bryce.
Looks like around, that's the 13 and the 14 in the back of the pack, and it looks like it was only 2 trucks.
3 trucks?
2 to 3. Even that was kind of about middle of it. And ooh, this is not a good night for the 89 so far. So it's Chavez. I'm gonna replay that really quickly. Looks like DeMoulin is coming down his side draft, turns Chavez. Chavez about flips, and that's the 14 that gets involved. He backs it in. And
only be the 2 trucks.
Yeah, it's only 2, and honestly, look at the 14. That's not who it is. It's a car that's stamped with the 14. That's wrong. No, who is it? Someone stamped as a 14, but it's not the actual 14. I don't really think that those guys have too bad of damage. They hit rear end first, so it actually kind of softened the impact, and when they hit it, they didn't really hit it that hard. So I don't think they'll have to use a fast repair. I think everybody will come down pit road here. I don't think they'll pit for fuel. I think this will be strictly, or not pit for fuel, pit for tires. This will just be fuel only from them, because it just does not make sense to take tires here, especially back-to-back cautions.
Yeah, I agree. I think if anything, it will be just a fuel, quick gas go. Try to get everything in the truck or in the race truck that you can get in it. As it looks like to me, Truth's going to come out with the lead on this deal. Davis, McConey, Norris, Teft going to be top 5, at least the way it's shown to me right now on the scoring tower.
It looks like they're all getting caught up, so it's going to make it a little bit weird and This, if everybody comes, Truth may be able to actually, no, he might be able to actually maintain a pretty good position here because they're all catching up behind, but he wasn't, so he might be able to come out with the lead here pretty comfortably and not have to kind of rush his pit stop here. Have to see what he does.
I'm showing 2 black flags. That's probably going to be too fast entering. 3 now. Showing the 24, the 10 of Wayne Scott. 41. Probably going to be too fast entering, it looks like to me.
The only thing I could think that it'd be besides that is cars are not getting sorted out before they come down pit road, and that's one thing that's kind of annoying to deal with is you're waiting for somebody to pass you, and they never do before you enter pit road. No matter what you do, you slow down as much as you can, but it just doesn't work from these guys. So that might be what's also happening. It could be speeding or that.
And you're correct. That is also one of the most annoying things to have to deal with. Is that situation, trying to let cars pass. You got that iRacing spotter in your ear. I believe who is it's TJ Majors, I think, that you can have in your ear. Let this car pass. You say you're right. It is absolutely annoying to deal with.
There's been some times that I've actually almost completely came to a stop. I mean, it will delay the green if it detects you going way too slow, and I've come to almost a complete stop because I'm like, nope, I'm not getting a black flag. I'm not dealing with this. Waiting as we're coming to the green, and it almost gives me a black flag. So drivers can stop on track to avoid that. But to the 14, it's Dave Nall who's stamped as the 14 is actually the 21 this race. Chavez, I think he's going to be getting off his optional done. Troy got some damage also. I don't know where he got that. It's on the right front too. No, left front.
That was a pretty lengthy stop, about a minute, 25 seconds or so. He spent in the pit stall. So
I don't know where he could have got this damage from. We didn't see him make contact with anybody, but that's some pretty heavy damage that he's got on the side of that truck there. And I don't think it's going to affect him too bad. He's going to be fine in the draft, but I don't think he'll be able to do really anything leading the line. We'll just have to keep an eye on that.
So cautions breed cautions, right? And I think that's one thing that we're seeing a little bit. We're still not quite halfway through this race, and so I think these drivers are going to settle everything out. We've seen an actual decent attempt for a third lane that last little run that we had there, Bryce. So
yeah, they kind of tried it for about a lap and a half, and they just bailed on it. It's just hard to get that third line going because people just want to stay middle, and I don't blame them. But you have to really commit to that. Once you get in that third line, you got to stay up there with them. And it's really easy to just hop back down in that middle line. And that's what we saw happening a lot there. Is guys just hop down to that bottom line. There's like, let's just go down here. I don't really want to have to deal with this anymore. So we'll just have to keep that in mind, and we'll see what they will do. So I'm kind of watching the Xfinity race. There's a wreck in the back around the 14. Good job, idiot. But Blake Davis and Truth Hoke will lead them back to the green flag here. Long pace laps at Talladega. It probably matches Pocono with how long it takes for these guys to get around under caution, to be honest with you, I think.
Takes a good little bit of time, as we do see at least the front pack starting to shake up a little bit. Some guys we've not made a lot of mention of. Jackson, Teft, he's worked himself inside the top 10. Very quiet night so far. He does have a win. You said in the point, so we know he's advanced. Again, one guy that I'm keeping an eye on is going to be the 51 of Blevins, kind of on that points bubble.
Yeah, points are going to be weird because super speedways are such a heartbreaker. You can gain all these points and then they all go away on the last lap. You're like, oh crap! As pace car does pull off pit road here, or off the track here, as the green flag is in the air. We are back underway.
As Truth will lead the pack down into turn 1 and 2. Blake Davis has enough room to get in here. He's not going to take it. He's going to stay up there in front of the 14 of Danny Jackson. Going to see if this line can form, and actually it's going to form a little bit better, and he might have a better run down the back stretch here.
At 11, getting a good shove there by the 14 of Danny Jackson, the Red Bull truck, as he will be pushed to the lead and then goes right down to the bottom. Doesn't want to get in the way of anybody else. So he gets out of that kind of weird position there. The 196 behind the 14 now, trying to give him a little bit of a shove. That was close there by Chris. He kind of cut the nose of the 47 off. That is really gutsy doing what he did right there, but he made it work. So good job for him.
He did make it work. I was actually watching that on the back side of my screen as well when you called that out. That was that's twice on the last 2 restarts we've seen him make a very quick adjustment. Now this time he didn't do it, at least, you know, when they first took the green, and didn't do it before the start-finish line. So it is a clean move. Now you can see the 196 hooked up with the 14 of Danny Jackson. It looks like on the outside here. Well, that's going to be a short.
Oh, there they go. I saw it. He missed getting down to the bottom line, and this is somewhat of the big one here. Down in the middle of the pack, the 14, the 196, the 6, the 35 are involved. One more car was involved in this. But that was a late block, or not a late block. He tried to move down to the bottom, missed, tried to go back up top, and just couldn't get there in time. He'll move down in front of Davis, realizes he can't do it, tries to get back up in front of Nelson, and just goes across the nose of Nelson there. The 10, the 6, the 35 are involved, the 38, the 1 is involved a little bit also. But that was just a move that didn't go too well for him there, as he's blown that engine up. The 196 is basically destroyed on the front end too from that, so that's going to be fast repairs for both of those guys.
Yeah, that's super speedway racing, I would call it, right? You think you have enough room, your spotter tells you clear, you go to make the move, and then the next thing you know, they got your quarter, and it's just not there. And then, you know, you don't want to lose the track position. He thought he had enough room to go back up, and it just wasn't there. That can happen on, you know, iRacing. That we've seen that happen in Daytona, Talladega, watching it on TV.
Just late blocks. And I don't think that was a bad move either. That was just so fast of a move. Like I think he realized really, really early on that he was not going to make that, but he just couldn't do anything at that point, and I don't think there was any malintent there at all.
No, it was just a matter of, you know, it's a split-second decision, right? I mean, that's just how the decision-making goes, especially when you're behind the wheel of one of these race trucks. It's very quick decision-making, and you know, the decision was made, and then like you said, very quickly realized this ain't going to work, and just ran out of racing room. Yeah, to me, it's super speedway racing. That's how I look at it.
And one thing too that I'm looking at now, kind of this puts him on a normal pit stop strategy, kind of. I said lap 30 to 35, and that was me just guessing when they can come down pit road. But now do you top off and try to stretch your fuel? Because some guys didn't come down that last time. They're still on that 25 lap pit fuel run. Everybody else is on lap 30. So if we go green for a pretty good stretch, like at least to the end of this, that pit or that fuel window for these guys that pitted, but didn't pit, it's gonna make it really interesting on what they do and when do they pit, and do you take fuel only? Do you take tires? What's the move here?
We're gonna have roughly 62 laps to the finish once we get the green flag. It looks like to me the lights are still on the iRacing pace cars, so that means they'll go at least one more time. So we'll restart somewhere around lap 33, I think it is, and so that's going to be roughly 61 laps to the finish. And so that being the case, you're right. Can these guys stretch it to be 30, 32 laps for a tank? And if so, that tells us that there's the potential of it going one more stop if it does stay green. And then you're right. What call do you make? No tires, 2 tires?
It's weird. I don't know if they'll stay green to the end, so I think that will kind of throw the strategy out the window. But it's going to be interesting. I'm always somebody who, every caution I get at super speedways, I'm pitting, just because I want to have the upper hand on the pit cycle. I want to be the person who kind of controls, you know, when I can come down pit road. I'm not having to rely on other people here, as lights have gone off on the pace car.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, right? You can't win the race by doing what everybody else does in front of you. And I don't disagree. Having the upper hand, at least on the pit strategy or the pit cycle, it can play dividend, especially late in the race, right? If you manage to maintain at least the upper hand of the pit strategy, and you get a late race caution, say about 10 to go, that might be one of them situations where you can pick up 4 or 5 spots, just by staying out, if not moving yourself to the front row, and really upping your chances at a victory. So, yeah, I don't disagree.
The biggest mover now is going to be 22 of Andrew Teff, qualified 25th, currently sitting 3rd at the moment, and that's Ford Ranger paint scheme. The Hoke, and then Davis up front. See, kind of a little bit back in the pack. Only 2 people have left, Jeffrey Goodpaster and Brett Bray. And that 10 is beat up. I think he's trying to save his fast repair for as long as he can. That's one thing these guys will do, is you're going to try to save that fast repair as long as possible. So these trucks can look like absolute junk. But as long as they can keep up with the pack, they're going to hold on to that fast repair forever. And it's going to look kind of weird, but also cool at the exact same time.
We should see the iRacing pace car take that hard left, and in fact has since done so. Blake Davis, Truth Hope's going to lead this group back to the restart zone, and we'll get this race back under green flag.
Enter the restart zone here, and the green flag is in the air. We are back underway here. 32 laps of 94 done so far. Looks like everybody gets a clean restart there. Nobody jumping down to the bottom quite just yet. Looks like Truth is trying to get to that quarter panel, that 11, to pull him back. Looks like he kind of got a little bit of it there. The 7 will come with a run from behind to give him a push out front. As big shot here, it looks like. Yep, he's going to pick up the rear, push that 55 all the way. Yeah, he's going to try it at least. He's got no help from the 51, really. Teff was able to push the 11 pretty hard, though, so he keeps him lined up with him.
Yeah, it's going to be Davis, Teff. It's going to be your first 2 on the inside row, and then you're going to have, I believe it's Hoke and Norris. It's going to be on the outside. Now, they might be able to generate a little bit better run here, Will Hoke and Norris. But you're right, there's very little help coming from Blevins. And I believe, who's that Rick Blevins there? The 13.
Yeah, that is Chavez, the 4th truck in line. And I think Chavez, he's actually getting held up here by McConey, because even though McConey is not, side drafting hard, he hops right down to the bottom, and there goes Chris Goxel. He will be into the inside wall as that truck is smoked. I was looking at the 13 of Chavez. That's just a
push going wrong.
That just looks like a big checkup in front. You kind of see he comes up really quickly on this car in front of him, and he just has to bail out of the throttle completely. Watch this. Yeah, he lifted in the 30, didn't know that he was lifting, and he just pounds that inside wall. It breaks left front suspension, blows the engine also at the same time. He's going to have to stop on the track. Hopefully he'll tow it.
Yeah. You could see the flames out of the pipes on the side of that truck.
But back up front, these guys are still 3 wide. Chavez looks like he's gone back to... No, that's not Chavez. That's the 51. Stuck in the middle.
Yeah, the 51's going to be looking to jump to the outside here. He's going to hope to bring McConey with him, but we have a new guy leading that outside line in front of Truth Oak in the 55. That's going to be the 98 of Tef, as the 16 and 51 has linked up. They're going to be the 2 solo trucks. Now, we've seen these two try to attempt to do this over the last couple of restarts we've had, and here they are. They'll get a pretty decent run through 1 and 2 as they hit the back straightaway. We're going to try to carry that momentum to 3 and 4.
Yeah, the only issue with them is they just don't have a third car in line, but they're making it work. I know it's like McConey's probably all the way to the bumper as much as he can get on him. He's shoving him as hard as possible. He's just not got help from behind. Troy's coming to help him, though, it looks like, for just a little bit. So I have to see what that help will do for him. The 98 and the 55. Just going to stay in that middle line. That 7's trying to look to the outside. He wants to try to make a move, but I just don't think he's able to right now quite just yet. Troy's backed off.
Not. Yeah, Norris in the 7, he's going to link up with Blevins and McConey on the outside there. But again, I just don't know, Bryce, if 3 trucks is going to be enough to generate with 4 or 5, in the middle line. You got, what, 4 or 5 lined up on the bottom line. I just don't know if 3 is going to be enough. But right now, they're holding their own.
Oh, kind of with me, at least the Super Speedways. I found that 3 is actually kind of the good amount. You're not, like... You would think that, they're all together, they're going to be going so quickly. You actually kind of go a little bit slower running with more cars just because everybody can't hold a line. And then they're all bailing out the throttle. That's causing everybody to lift at different points. When you have 3 cars, the guy in the up front is running flat out. The guy in the middle is waiting for the shove from a guy from behind. There's just a lot less things that can go wrong. And I actually find that to go a little bit faster, so I'm not surprised they were able to kind of hold their own up there at that point. But it's like they've lost that third car and their third truck in last. They're not able to hold on as good as they were before.
You can see Teft, Hoke still managing kind of the runs and the lanes right now, really, by being able to side draft the lower line. It's going to be the 11 of Davis. They can kind of manage this race from right where they are. Pretty good racing, though.
These guys have been relatively clean. I mean, there have been back-to-back cautions, kind of, but it's not been bad overall. We just had some of these little incidents, and it's not really taken out a lot of cars either when they do happen, as that third line is still trying. They're just not getting the cars that they need out there to help them. They're going to struggle getting a run here.
Looks like the 14 is going to link up with that outside group. It's a strange move now to Tef, but now Tef going to the bottom. I believe is he not teammates to Truth?
I think he is. He may be. He may be teammates to the Truth here. I know they work together a lot. This Truth does hop down right in front of him, so he very well may be teammates with him here.
Yeah, so they very quickly gave up on that middle line. That's going to allow, I believe that's the 196 of Nelson to assume the top spot. And then you've got McConey, you got the 50 of Terry. We know he had a black flag there just a little bit ago. He's now since been able to find himself inside the top, say, 7 positions, it looks like. And then who's that? Thomas right behind them, I believe it is Troy, Norris. They're still trying to work the outside. Right now, it's just a game of chess and swapping positions.
Oh, hold on. We might see something happen here around this 89. The 89 got high again. It's DeMoulin. I'm getting nervous with him because he keeps going high, and I just don't know if the truck's just floating on him or doing something not to his liking. But it seems like when somebody gets to the outside of him, that just pulls that truck with them. He may just be getting tight and having to lift out the throttle. I'm not completely sure. Looks like he's able to keep it up under him for right now. But Nelson, so see the 707 getting way out of the way. Doesn't want to be in front of anybody. But so now it's going to get weird. Fuel, we got 25, 29, 30, 25, 25, 22, 30, 25. This is a whole mix of fuel. And Hoke and Teff leading like this, that's going to hurt his fuel. Davis is saving fuel. So we're going to have different pit strategies here soon if we don't get a caution for a wreck, because these guys are going to run out of fuel and they're going to have to pit. There's nothing they can do about that. You're going to have to come down pit road sooner than later.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about it throughout the night. You know, we're guessing, at least for us up here in the commentary booth, we're guessing somewhere between 30 to 35 laps on a tank of fuel, which tells us that if our calculations are correct, they're going to need at least one more stop. Right now, that could very well turn out to be a green flag stop. And you're right, with when the last time these guys was on pit road, you got Terry back there in the 50. He was last on pit road, I believe, lap 22. Currently, the highest running position right now that was last on pit road looks to be Greg McConey. It's like he was last on pit road, I believe, lap 30. So yeah, tons of fuel strategy to play out here.
So what I'd be worried about with the guys that are lap 25 and 22 is they're going to have to possibly two-stop it. They're going to have to make this pit stop and then really quickly pit again. But the question is, you know, I think there's such a deficit because they're going to have to pit once. These guys behind them only have to pit one more time, I'm pretty sure. They're going to have to short pit. They're not going to be caught up to this pack. They're going to go a lap down here. We're probably 12-ish laps away from that, though, so we don't have to worry about that quite just yet at this point in the race.
You know, they may be banking on another caution, too, right? I mean, we've had a couple of those. I believe, 3 on the night so far, Bryce? So they very well could be banking on what could be another caution. Now, we've seen a couple of decent wrecks. I don't think we've seen the, quote, big one just yet. So they could be banking on another caution. The problem with that is you never know when that caution's going to fly or when that big one's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, they've got to be banking on it. That's the only thing I can think of. Because I'll be generous. I'll give them 35 laps. Say 35 laps plus 25. That's 60 laps that they'll be able to run. We'll give them 2 caution laps, so we'll have to come down at lap 62, and that's being really, really generous with their fuel there. That's absolutely running it dry, going as long as you can.
Now, with some of these guys, you have like Teff there in 98. Some of these guys within this front group has been running around the 5th, 10th position up until the last 4 or 5 laps, Bryce. They've since worked themselves to the front, but for the biggest part of the race, or at least since the last time they were on pit road, they were in a spot where they could have saved some fuel. So again, I think you're right. Being generous with a couple of, say, caution laps, I think we're pretty close with fuel numbers.
I'm trying to kind of guess off their lap times too. So we got best laps for basically 51 flats at this point. No, actually, looks like high 58 or not 58, 50.8 is what we're looking at. These guys are running 51 fours. They're 5/10 off. Uh-oh. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Oh, gosh. McConey doesn't know where this guy is. The leader of this outside line just disappeared. I don't think McConey knows.
Right now,
he's waiting to see where it shows.
Everybody up.
I don't think anybody wants to be there.
Quickly. No, but we see the 41. I believe that was the 41 just jump out there. He's not going to be afraid of it. And is it possible that, let me see, Bryce, maybe I can.
Oh, I think it was Nelson, because Nelson's not showing on the scoreboard now. I think that was Barry Nelson that had a connection issue.
He still hasn't popped back in, so very well could have had one of those packet loss deals that. But the 16 of McConey very quickly dipped out when he had the opportunity and hit the bottom row. They kind of backed that middle row up. They kind of lost all their momentum they had, but now the 16 to 41, the 3 is going to try to get that middle row back going again, as they're going to have some help.
Yeah, you can see everybody. Really, McConey, like, he dropped about 4 or 5 cars because he doesn't know where that guy is. He's going to get them all back here off the bumper. That 41 is going to give him a pretty good shove going down the backstretch here now. Giving him all that he can. So you hope we'll get a little bit of an arrow shove there from Teft. But these guys have gotten past halfway in the race right now. So we'll have to see what they do pit stop wise as we go on here.
I think right now that's going to be the biggest thing for us to keep our eyes on, is going to be when these drivers decide and know, hey, you know, now it's time to pit. So right now we'll keep an eye on that. So far, everybody's going to stay out here. Now, one guy that's kind of lost a little bit of track position, has kind of fell back just a little bit by about 13 spots. Is going to be our driver that started on the pole. The 51 of Blevins has kind of just went back, just kind of laying back there waiting, saving fuel. Potentially, he's a little bit off the car in front of him to try to save fuel, but he's since lost a little bit of track position. Now, that could be by design as well. We talked a little bit about that too, Bryce. This could just be a fast repair saving kind of call just to hang out.
Yes, we're coming up close to when, if they can make it to lap 60, and they'll be able to one-stop it, that you'll be running it really, really, really close. And iRacing, there's gonna, no, there they go. So it's a little bit early here. The 11 was on lap 25. And Terry and Jesper, and I'm not able to see when they were last down before this. That's only 3 trucks that went, so we'll have to see if more people come down the next time by. Possibly, we will see that here.
Terry, I showed to be last on pit road at lap 22. Is the number that I see.
We'll have to see where these guys start going to the bottom. That bottom line is definitely formed up, though, so they might all be coming at once. Will we have anybody else jump down to pit road is the question.
Now, if these guys all decide to come at the same time, that could prove to be calamity in itself, getting on off pit road. Looks like most of these guys are going to stay out this time by anyway.
I didn't see anybody jump down pit road there. I'm gonna be looking at Hope, Tef, and Marcus. They're the factors of, can they stretch their fuel long enough? I think that they really needed to just lay back and let somebody else lead that line. That's what they needed to do, so they can be able to actually afford to run longer. They pushed their fuel really hard. They're just not going to have a lot left here to go.
Just when we thought everybody was going to get single file to start hitting pit road, you see the 41, 48, 16 all make moves to the outside. There comes Teft, Hogue. Here they all come, at least on that inside. Big wreck. One upside down, I think.
That looks like that's the 41. I think that's all I got a notification for was Aaron Marcus. Somebody's got a fender rolling down the front stretch. We'll look back at that after these guys pit. So I think this will only get them to about lap 80 on that, I think. I don't think they'll be able to go much further than that. Need to look.
You see Teft rolling now.
There it is. So it's Aaron Marcus, what it looks like. Turn almost flips. Almost flipped again.
Yeah. That's what I seen out of the corner of the screen there. Was watching those guys hit pit road.
That was a pretty good recovery from him. I'll give him that. That thing almost came over twice, but he's able to keep it up under him. So, oh, we got a meatball flag for McConey. What is? Oh, what in the world happened with him? He does not have a right front fender and no suspension either. I don't know when he got that. That was weird.
I'm looking and I'm not seeing it. It's
where he got that damage from. The 92 and the 11 up here right now drafting each other also. The 50, the 14, the 51. These guys need to get it sorted out so they can be able to run up here up front by themselves. We still have 4 people that need to come down, really 3 that need to come down pit road that have still put themselves in good position. They're going to stretch as long as they can. If they can go to lap 30, or not lap 30, lap 60, they'll be able to go down pit road as Marcus just jumped the pits. I think he did. I don't know what's happening with him. This is the final group that needs to pit, though, that we're looking at right here.
This is kind of just shaking everything up, really.
Yeah, it's gotten weird. I think
the final.
Yeah, this group right here will be able to join up, so that should kind of make it a little bit more back to normal.
Right now, we see 48, Fudge, Baker. Looks like all those guys, there's still 3 of that lead pack that still has to come down pit road. But then, it's kind of shaking everything up for me. But
yeah, these guys will get joined up here. One thing I'm noticing, though, is I think Fudge, Baker, and Matthew have slowed the pace down a lot. They're running 53s compared to 51s, and they're 33 seconds ahead. That's probably get about 4 to 3 laps of fuel, most likely, on that, or running that pace. So they're stretching their fuel. They're playing the fuel mileage right here with each other. It's not a bad idea.
Definitely, it is not actually a bad idea at all, because once again, you've said it. If we feel like if these guys can get to what would be about lap 60, we think that they'll be able to potentially make it to the end. And so at least one more stop with this group here. That tells us, though, that the rest of the field may have another stop left, right? With how early they come. I believe you had mentioned lap 80 for some of those guys even. So that being the case, these guys may be able to stretch this out just a little bit, slow this pace down. In fact, here they all come this time, at least 3 of them.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to have to, at 51, that they're not going to go 40 laps on fuel. It'll be about lap 85 that they'll have to come down pit road. You're not going to be able to make it as long as you need it to go green. These guys come down pit road, so I think they're going to be a little bit short again.
Yeah, I think so. That's why I was watching. I seen him come down pit road. I was looking at the lap count. Showed 56, completing 56 to 57, I think it was. But that should turn the lead back over to Teft, Hope, Thomas, Norris. That group there.
Now the question comes: when do you short pit? Like, when do you get in your window and then come down pit road? Because you can come in the next 10 laps. If you come at lap 67, you're going to be able to make it to the end. It's just, when do you decide to make that move is the question.
Well, I think you got to run it long, right? I mean, if you decide to come within the next 10 to open the pit window to get you to the finish, and a caution comes out, that very well could be, a track position thing. I think you got to run it as long as you possibly can, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what they do. Don't come down across the track if I going to do that. I don't know. Like, that's just so hard to do. What do you do? What do you actually do here? Because do you wait for another caution to happen? I mean, are you going to bank on that, or are you not going to bank on that? Like, what's the move at this point in the race?
Right now, it's got a green flag feel to it, right? I mean, we've logged several laps. We've since went through a green flag cycle. So, right now it does have a little bit of a lengthy green flag run to it. So I don't think banking on a caution right now is where I would be. Again, though, you're going to have friends. You talked about this before, right around the start of this race. You got to have friends. So when do you go, right? I think for me, I would want to try to run it as long as I possibly can, but still try to be one of the first groups on pit road. I think Tef and Hope and that group that was the first ones down pit road, I think those guys are probably setting in a better position than anybody else because they're going to be able to go before everybody else. But again, they may have to take a little bit more fuel too as well. So it's kind of a toss-up right now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to go on, and it's so hard to figure out. And disclaimer too, when I make up these, when I say these laps, I'm going off of my racing experience. I'm kind of guessing, but most of the time I'm actually pretty close on laps. So they could be stretching it a little bit longer here because they're still running.
Well, we got the pit window open, and that was before lap 60. So, and we was being courteous with laps, right? So they actually put, what was it, 50, 52, 53-ish area?
Yeah, and one thing too that I'm
51?
looking at,
yeah,
is they're running 5/10 off the fastest lap right now, so they could be saving a little bit of fuel trying to run it as long as possible. We got to keep that in mind because we saw them backing it up earlier. I don't know. We'll just have to figure out what they're doing. Right now, they're just racing pretty much as hard as they can at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's no saving going on right now. Right now, where we are at the point of this race, coming down to what's going to be, I believe, about 30 or so to go, I think is what it is, where we have 61. So about 33, 34 to go, right? So right now, it's just a battle of trying to position yourself within that front group to really give yourself an opportunity to hit pit road when they do, and then maintain track position to ultimately try to have a chance to win this race when the white flag waves. And so, yeah, there's no saving going on right now. It's as hard as racing as it's been all night long. And I think the reason that we're seeing that rise is because a lot of these guys know that they're going to have to make at least one more stop. So everybody's banking probably on another stop, knowing they're going to have to get on an off-pit road. So there's no reason to save. About everybody is within a few laps of each other. So
yeah,
I still show Davis. I still show Davis last time on pit road about 25. Do you see that? Is that what's that showing to you?
Davis is showing, where is he at? For me, it's showing lap 49.
Okay.
Yeah, SDK looks like it's messed itself up there, which happens sometimes.
I'm gonna say, you know that's not a fact. So,
yeah, if you're running on lap 25 fuel, you should drop the gas tank. Drop it right now. We gotta look at that gas tank.
we're going to have to send that down to the officials and let them take a look at, because that should be an oversized tank for sure. I tell you, though, the racing up front here between Tef, Hope, Jackson, and Norris. These guys are kind of leaning on each other. Some really, it looks to me, a little bit of aggressive side drafting, or at least it was in the last corner.
These guys we're gonna start seeing it a lot more probably next 10-ish laps, if I had to guess, possibly from that. We'll definitely see guys experimenting with that third line. They'll kind of poke their nose out and think, do I want to do this? Do I really want to do this? Do I not? And they're going to be just jumping in and out. They're going to be deciding, do they want to make these moves or do they not want to make these moves here?
You're right, because again, I hate to sound like a beaten, a broken record, but again, it's a track position thing. You're right. Do you make the move to the outside line? Do you try to form a third line? If you do that, you're gonna have to try to clear the 7 of Norris. In fact, he'll move to the bottom. So again, this late in the race, you're trying to gain track position if you don't have it. But I don't know that I would risk a third lane. Not right now. The most that we've seen the third lane really produce in terms of speed has been what, maybe a lap and a half or two?
Yeah, I don't think we'll see it right now. I just think it's way too early. But I'm really looking at this lap counter now. If you wanted to go down pit road now, you can. You'd be close if they stayed green. Now if they had cautions, of course, that'd benefit it. But, like, I don't know. What do you do here?
Yeah, caution's not out of the realm of a possibility, right? We've seen these trucks get to moving around a little bit in the draft here the last couple of laps. So, a caution's not out of the realm of possibility. Again, it's one of those deals to where you got to have friends, right? We know the 98 and the 55 potentially is somewhat working together. They've been linked up for the latter part of this race so far. Norris in the 7 has since positioned himself in a really good spot to work with these two. The outside line's kind of fading.
I almost wonder if they're moving to the bottom on purpose, or no, they're stacking back up there. I'd find it hard for them to come down pit road right now.
Yeah, I think you got to run it to the end, right? Whatever you got in the tank, if you get inside, I don't think we're going to see anything until we hit with inside, I think 20 to go, right? So I think once we hit around, I want to say 74, 75 area, I think that's when that pit window is really going to open. And the reason I say that is because you're going to want to have some lap time out on the track, right? You're going to want to be able to make up some track position. You know how these green flag stops are. It'll actually kind of separate these drivers. We had we had two different groups chasing the front pack. It hadn't pitted yet, just in the last green flag stop. So I think the pit window is really going to open inside around lap 20 or 20 to go. That's probably when we'll start to see guys start hit the pit road, I would think.
Yeah, it just has to be around there. I just don't think it could be anywhere else. One thing that maybe a little bit worried about too is who gets on pit road clean, because they're going to be getting all that they can coming down pit road, and that's going to be hard. You're going to be pushing. And you're going to see a lot of brake lockups. You're going to see guys getting in the braking zone really, really late. And it's going to be interesting to watch it for sure.
Yeah, I believe it's, 180 plus mile an hour down to what I think is a 70 mile an hour pit road speed limit. So, yeah, you're going to try to gain every inch you can when you're coming to pit road. But to get these trucks, slowed up enough to make that pit road entry speed, that's going to be a task in itself. Right, who can execute that last green flag stop? I think it's going to happen under green. To me, this just has a green flag feel to it right now.
And that middle lane has got a lot of cars with them too, so we got to keep that in mind. That could change a lot here. But they're going to try to get the lead here, but it looked like they surge and then they just kind of fall off after that.
Well, I think some of that's just, you know, the third truck in line to me is the one that really generates what a run can do, right? I mean, you can push all you can push with the second truck, but if you have that third one really tucked up towards the bumper, not necessarily pushing, because you don't want to push the pusher, you can see some calamity with that, but I think the third truck in line is really what can propel that outside line, at least in Jackson. Yeah, that's Jackson out there. At least to help Jackson maybe clear Norris, Tev, Pope, that's on the bottom line right there. You can see them pull even through the corners, but they just don't have enough to generate on the backstretch. And I really think that's just the 707 not being able to help with that, the two trucks in front of him.
That 14, the 98, the 13, where did I get 14? The 7 and the 98, excuse me. Is there 25 to go here? They're running, hold on, actually looking at this now, they're 2 seconds off the pace. So they may be trying to stretch it as long as they can here, because they are not running full speed.
Yeah, and I think also, too, that's why we're able to see the 13 and the 14 kind of manage the track position out there on the outside line and do it by themselves. And in fact, the 707's kind of dipped out of line. That's going to allow Blevins and company behind him. I believe that's going to be the 06, or at least that's what it shows on the truck. I'm not sure what he actually is on the scoring. But nonetheless, I think, yeah, because, I mean, I'm showing 52.8, 52.9, 52.9. About 2.5 seconds off pace.
Yeah, they're definitely not running their fastest laps here. So I think they're trying to save as much as possible. That's going to be really interesting to see how long they can go backing off like this.
Yeah, and it's not just a couple of trucks. It's this whole front lead pack. I mean, everybody within this group that we're watching here, Bryce, has backed up their lap time. And in fact, the last time by, I'm showing 53 pluses all the way down to what looks to be 12th place, right? So almost a full complete 3 seconds off the pace is this pack here. So, yeah, I think you're right, man. They're all saving. They're all playing that fuel strategy game right now.
I don't know if we're gonna do it. I really do not know.
I don't either. That's what makes it fun for us, because we don't know. We got to call it when we see it. We got several things to talk about. We can guess laps, things like that. But I'm with you, man. I've been sitting over here scratching my head. I'm getting quiet, trying to figure out. I'm with you. I don't know.
I mean, they're running so far off the pace. But, I mean, the only thing that they can do is this can reduce it. Reduce their pit stop as short as it can be. That is the only thing that I can think of what they can do. I don't think that you can make it. If you do, you're going to be barely making it around the track to begin with. So
we see one. I see one off the headed towards pit road. I believe that was going to be the 707. He was by himself.
Yeah, I think Chris is multiple laps down too, so he's not too much of a factor either, so we don't have to really put him in there.
But that window that I talked about, yeah, that window I talked about, though, that 73, 74, 75 lap area, we're in that now, right? So, again, it's saving. These guys are saving fuel. They're trying to save everything that they can potentially save. Now, a couple of guys to keep an eye on is maybe the 2 or 3 guys that pitted together in that last run. We know they stretched it further than anybody, but I don't know that even they're going to be able to get to the end. The leaders look like they're not far off from catching these guys.
Yeah, the whole issue
1,
with
2,
them
3,
is
4 trucks on pit road, Bryce.
The whole issue with them, though, is that, you know, they're alone. They don't have anybody else with them. But that is 4 trucks that come down pit road now at this point. So I think that will be their last pit stop for the race. I don't think they'll have to come down again. To see, do these guys come down?
Right in the commentary booth.
Yeah, we'll have to see when they come down. Because everybody, we have almost everybody to the bottom. Almost everybody at the bottom of the track. So I think they may be coming down this time too.
Well, the 14, 7, 98, 55 is probably all going to come together. I would suspect that the 3 and Thomas and the 24 directly behind him, I believe though that group will probably come together, right? I mean, they're crazy not to. There comes 2 of them, and in fact, they will not. So 2 of them will stay out. 2 of them will
Oh, I saw him getting way too hot. It's Jackson goes around on pit lane, spun it. He'll get it back going here. I knew he was way too hot coming in there.
He was cooking it. Cooking and booking it. And that's one thing that you talked about, right? Getting on off pit road and doing it cleanly. Trying to gain every inch of the racetrack that you can. And that is exactly what we saw with Jackson in the 14. So now does when does Teft, Hoke, Thomas, when does that group come to pit road?
I don't want to say this lap. Yep, there it is. Nope. Yep, there it is. I had a feeling they were going to come this lap just looking at how they're going. Hello, Teft. Teft is going to gun it in there. Not Teft. Hoke is going to gun it down in there. Almost took the lead from Teft. He got in the braking zone so deep. No, this will be fuel only, no tires. You do not need tires this late in the race.
So 7 trucks with this pack just dipped off pit road.
And Matthews all alone. He's going to get ran up on here very, very quickly. I don't think he'll be able to make it either.
So now, how does this shake out for, Blake, Terry, Dave, this group here? We know that Blevins and group, Teft, all those guys, they're already out. They're merging. So I suspect somewhere around the middle of the backstretch, these guys will start to gain, at least catch the draft and start to gain on some of those guys.
So Blevins is going to come out with the lead. I don't see a black flag for anybody on pit road. Looks like pretty broken up here group-wise. See how fast they get grouped back together. If they get grouped back together, that is.
Yeah, looking at pit stop times, Blevins was on there less than 10 seconds. The 24 was on there about 11. Teft at 13 and a quarter. Thomas had a 13-second stop. Might as well say a 13-second stop for the 48. I wonder what happened to Truth. I'm showing quite a bit of time on pit road for him.
Had to think. Probably slid through his box because had a 14-second pit stop, 47-second total time on pit road, and Jackson behind him had a 10-second pit stop, 47-second on pit road. So I think both of them slid through their box there. That's what I'm guessing. Know that.
So now you got
these guys up here want to see it stay green.
Right, absolutely. That's what I was about to say, because Truth and company back here, they're 3 wide, 3 by 3 by 2 it looks like. But you got Blevins, Frank, Teft, Thomas, Castle. I believe they're all going to be somewhat in a group right here together. Actually, they're not. Teft is actually, I think he's among a couple lap cars, isn't he?
I think he is. 47 of Pete Bellini and the 2, Mike Fudge. What it looks like.
We're going to show 5 cars within his front pack, but this is going to bring Tev up here for what's going to be a 3-car battle. These guys want to see it stay green, absolutely.
It's just what do these lap trucks do is the question. Like, do they fight, or do they help Tev? Like, who do they go with here? Lap cars, lap trucks will play a pretty big factor for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, because this is going to be an opportunity for them to get their lap back. If they can manage to get out in front of Blevins in the 51 and a caution would come out, this would allow them to get their lap back and not have to take a waiver round or the lucky dog and put them back in contention.
48, he's going to come down pit road. You must want to look at guys behind him. They're sorted out. Looks like they are, and they're running equal though, so I don't think they're going to be able to catch him here. It'll suck for them. I don't think they're going to be able to do much with it.
It's going to be hard to for matching lap times, especially racing the way that those guys are racing back there side by side. That's definitely going to hold them up.
Yeah, you've got to get sorted out.
Yeah, and you also touched on it a little bit too, right? Having too many trucks can sometimes be harmful, right? So
they shaved off about 4/10 that lap though, but then they got 14 laps, but you're 5 seconds behind. That's not going to get you there for sure. So I don't know.
You need to make up about a half to 3/4 a second a lap. That should, if they was able to do that, I would think that would get them somewhere at about lap 90, 91 area, catching that front group. But again, they're going to have to do it by about a half to 3/4 of a second every lap to be able to do it.
Yeah, they're not helping each other at all racing like this. They're slowing each other down so much, racing side by side, as we almost got a wreck back there around the 30. A little bit loose. The 11 will go to his outside. I don't know if that was just loose in the middle of the corner out of nowhere, if he got a bump at that car or truck definitely got out under. Oh, he blew up. The 14's blown up. Jackson's engine is gone, I think. I see smoke coming out of it. He's gone. So Danny Jackson blows a motor. Luckily gets down to the bottom. I don't know how in the world they did not wreck. I think it blew going through the tri-oval.
He was pushing the 55 for everything that he could push him for.
Yeah, he realized it, but it was gone. It blew up on him. The one was kind of innocent bystander. He got shoved with the grass there. But I was wondering why he was so low, and that engine just went kaboom on him pretty much at that point.
In fact, did do that. Had that trouble getting on pit road. Coming in really hot, spun the truck around. Was trying to work with the 55. Try to catch the front pack. But right now, Blevins, Frank, Tev, all right there together. It's going to be the top 3.
That group behind him, though, has gained a second. So I'd almost be worried that that's not going to be the end of it.
Last thing you want is someone blowing up right in the middle of the, especially the truck doing all the pushing.
Yeah, and you can normally notice it right before it blows. I mean, you've got basically about 3 seconds right before it blows up. Is you'll hear it just drop. It'll just drop in the RPMs. It'll kind of go to a really flat noise, and then the smoke will come. And I think that's what he realized, because he was definitely he was getting to the bottom before it even actually started blowing up on him. Lost another. They actually lost some time there. They actually broke even. D. Jackson, he's made his way to pit road finally there.
Right now it shows to be about 4.5 seconds. That's going to be from Tev back to Hogue. From what I can see.
These guys up front are running 51.71, so they're keeping pace for sure. They're not letting them catch them. And at this point, you're basically just foot to the floor. You're not trying anything else. I really just wondered how it would have handled if they were actually able to, just line up, because they're still just side drafting each other so hard that it would help them so much if they just stopped doing that. As they picked up 5/10 that lap, so that they can pick up time if they just sort it out.
Yeah, they have. In fact, they're now under that 4-second mark, and it looks like to me they're still gaining ground. Now, I'm looking at it as we have roughly 8 laps to go or so. So I still think that there's enough time, because it looks like to me they gained almost another 4/10.
Yeah, they did gain their 4/10. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. Well, I mean, if they keep doing that, they'll be able to get there. But I just don't know if they can. I think they've realized now we got to start being side by side, or got to be lined up with each other and not 2 by 2, or else we're not even going to have a chance to make a move here.
That's one thing that we're keeping an eye on right now. There's no change out front. It's still the 51-24, the 98. That's still the front 3. I'd say another straightaway by the time they get back to the start finish line, or at least out of turns 3 and 4. They're going to be under 3 seconds here, Bryce.
Yeah, they're picking up a lot faster than I thought they would. They ran about 7/10 faster that last lap, so they're coming now if they've got sorted out. If they keep doing this, they'll be able to catch them now. If they start pulling out of line and racing each other, then they're not going to be able to do it.
I think you got to be within, about a second and a half to a second within the truck in front of you to really start pulling that draft. Watching this pack, we're going to be down under 2 seconds by the time they roll out of the corner here.
Yeah, and
they're rolling these guys quickly, Bryce.
Once they get to about 6/10, that's when you start catching the draft off the truck in front of you. So I think Truth is about sniffing it right there. I don't know if it's the 7 that started shoving hard or what, but they're just not able to pull away like they were in front. And I think Teft has caught that last truck in line here, so he's going to have the drafter now. So thought these guys were out of it, but they've come to play still. They want to actually make this interesting here at the end.
Now let's see what Truth and Norris does right with this run, because they're going to have tons of momentum picking them off that draft. And let's see how far that they can go. Now, one thing I want to keep an eye on is when Truth gets up there. I say, now see, there goes the 98. So the 98's going to have a dancing partner. Now, what does Truth do? Does he?
Oh, there they go. That's the 50, and here's the big one. They're still wrecking. Saul looks like the 51 of, who is that?
Late block. That's Blevins. Theft. No.
Got bumped by the
going wrong.
Yeah, bumped by the 24, and that sends him up in the Teft, and Teft couldn't do anything, and then it's on from here. We'll go to a blunt view. So
go on board the 55. Watch how clean he gets through this mess as this unfolds in front of him with Teft and Blevins.
And literally, C's open up for him right there. Kind of look back what's going on back here. I want to get that blimp shot, because this is going to be interesting to look at. Look at this. Look at how many trucks are involved in this wreck. The 50 almost made it through. 50 was so close to making it through, and he gets clipped right here. The 3, I think he almost made it through. Wayne Scott almost made it through, and those guys get involved at the very end and just not able to make it. Well, hopefully these guys kept their faster pairs, because they're going to need them now, for sure. They're going to need them really badly.
Hey, wow, what a really good job by the 55 and the 7, though. Working together with the pack that they was with to shave off 4 seconds. Now you see Truth up here in the 55 holding the top spot.
Dave Shively just said, "Watch out, Tefple Austin Hill people." Nah, he doesn't wreck people. What are you talking about? His steering locked. I still don't know how he's playing. How he's still trying to deny that he did not hook Almirola to this day. And that is clear as day as it could be. But yeah.
Are you talking about the Indianapolis wreck?
Yeah, the Indy wreck. He hooked him so hard.
I'm pretty certain that most of everybody.
Yeah,
he can say what he wants, but I'm pretty certain everybody saw the same. I mean, we all seen the same thing with that. So
if you can breathe, you can notice. I think you know that he wrecked him on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I guess maybe it's because I race a little bit different. Have been racing in in real life and watching my dad race as well, and I guess it's just a different mentality. What could have been what could have been probably a top 5, top 10 finish. He gets the car straightened out and just hooks him right, rears him. So I don't know. I don't guess I understand it.
Well, when I watched it live, I was like, oh, he just hooked him. I was like, he just flat out hooked him. It didn't even take me a second to realize that. I was like, he just wrecked him. And he comes on the radio, and then, yeah, that was just stupid. It's the dumbest movie ever seen. I think.
But we got a big race to finish out here in Talladega, here on the iRacing surface, here on Racers Elite.
And I think these guys will get I think it might be an unofficial green-white checkered attempt here if lights do go off on the pace car. I think it will. Just have to see.
Now at this point, with a green-white checker, this race is far from over. I'm not sure how many attempts we get, but this race is far from over.
Yeah, this is when the brains go out the window. You just throw them on the track and they run them over about 3 times.
But who has fast repairs left? We just seen the big one, right? And we know a lot of those guys had to take a fast repair. So
I don't know. I mean, think about
how aggressive do you get?
I think probably 10% of the field has a fast repair left. Maybe that's being generous to that. Also, being very generous.
Yeah, I think you're right. That is definitely very generous.
Lights do go off, so they will get the green this time by.
Oak, Thomas, Nall, Castle, Teff. Going to be the top 5. Kelly, Terry, Blevins, Davis, Norris. Going to be the rest of the top 10 when we go back green here, Bryce. Pay windows open, and who can make the right moves?
Who knows? As I don't know if people have been watching the Xfinity race, but Zilich did leave the car after 14 laps. Kligerman has replaced him. Kligerman, the team that he races for the Truck Series, I'm actually 10 minutes away from their facility. Abingdon, Virginia. So Kligerman did replace him. It's going to be interesting. Could it be one of these cars back here that takes home the win? I don't... Wait, no. Hold on. Okay, no, Hoke is going to be fine. I thought Hoke was going to be close on fuel. He's lap 76, but he's running these laps under caution. That's definitely going to stretch his fuel by like 2 laps at the most. So he should be fine. I don't think fuel will be an issue unless we have another green-white checkered attempt. Pace car will pull in here. Drivers will enter the restart zone. As the green flag is in the air, we are back underway here. Hope gets a pretty good jump on the field. Do not want to get too far out, though, because that could leave him out to dry. The 3 of Troy Thomas will jump down below him.
You can see. Yeah, the outside line is several truck lengths off. That's going to be the one of Castle, and I believe Teff followed by him.
Teff is going to shoot it up the middle. He's going to get this 14, which is actually the 21 of Dave Nall. He'll go up the middle. Teff giving him a pretty good shove. Now, next flag ends it. If they take the white flag, they want to get to that. They'll go through the trial here. That middle lane has a lot of trucks. So does that bottom lane. The top lane has really nobody up there to help them.
And no help for the two trucks on the outside right now. This is going to be Hurt. This is going to be Nall side by side. Thomas Teff followed by him. There's going to be three trucks lined up. A lot of side drafting, heavy lanes. Big turn here.
So we're going to stay green. David Nall will still be on the outside. Hope still leading Troy on the bottom. How hard can Teff shove when he needs to shove is the question. Teff going to try to get to the back bumper of him, but he's got no help from behind. Hoke has help from behind, and the 3 has help from the 38 as they go into 4 here. Hoke in the bottom, Nall in the middle, Teff behind him, the 35 all the way up high, trying to get something to work here at the moment. I just don't know if he's going to be able to. So they're going to go into 3, come out of 4 here. Pass will be made coming out of the trial. Well, that 35, here he comes with the run. Nall tries to block, not able to block either. Teff through the middle. Hoke, though, maintaining the lead as they're going to wreck behind him, and it looks like it will be Truth Hoke who will take home the win. Kelly second. Teff comes home third. There's a lot of wrecks coming to the start-finish line there.
I just want to say, what an amazing job by Teff to keep that truck straight. And he took a really hard shot on the passenger side of that truck. And I thought that he was going to wreck it there. Wow, what a finish.
Yeah, he did a good job of, I mean, literally the seas parted for him to get the lead, and he was able to maintain it there. It's a good job by him.
Absolutely an amazing race. I'm kind of at a loss of words at that finish. I'm kind of rewinding it back, watching it a little bit.
Yeah, you'll have these races where it's a good finish, and then they'll wreck at the end, and then it's kind of like these finishes where you don't know what's going to happen. That was kind of a wreck finish, but it wasn't a wreck fest finish, if you know what I mean.
I mean, Teff just got doored right dead center of the number, was able to keep it straight. Wow.
Watch Hope do his burnout here.
Great job by Truth, though. 1 point was several seconds back. Worked with the 7, I believe, of Norris to race his way through. Catch the front pack. The seas part, and he finds himself leading the race with a green-white checker. Ultimately parks it in victory lane.
Pull up the finishing order here now. We'll bring in top 3 drivers of the race. We'll bring in Andrew Teff. Andrew Teff will be the first driver in here. Find him there. He's hopping up into one of them. Hey Teff, this is Bryson Brandon in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yeah, I got you.
And so you come home third there, fall a little bit short. You qualified 25th, though. You know, how did the race go for you overall, though? Because it seemed like you were kind of in contention there a little bit later in the race than I'm used to seeing, but you were definitely in contention there.
Yeah, I was just trying to be patient. Ran a really clean race. Didn't really make any contact with anything, and thought I had a winning move jumping in front of that the other pack that was catching us there at the end, but you know, Frank kind of threw a late block there, and then It looked like he right reared the leader right into me, but still had my fast repair, so took that, got back out there, and was able to at least make a run at it. Thought I was gonna maybe push Dave to the win there, but he went up to the top line and kind of wound up giving me a big run. And but yeah, congrats to Truth. You ran a really great race.
Hey, so what was going through your head really that last, sorry, not last lap. What was going through your head really on that pit cycle there? Because it was going to be so weird when you all had to pit because everybody was completely different on fuel strategies there.
We were trying to sort of get on pit road by ourselves. The four of us. I believe it was Truth, Troy, myself, and maybe Frank was with us too. It was a small group. And we were just trying to, save fuel when we could to keep the pit stop short. And it's a little dangerous coming in a large pack, so we were trying to either come a little bit early and surprise them or go longer. That last stop, we were going to go a lap earlier than the guys in front of us decided they were going to come in, so thought that might hold us up. So we did a extra lap at the last minute, made a last minute call, which is probably a good idea. But I think maybe I needed a little bit more fuel than those guys, or maybe they didn't take tires the last stop and almost lost them. But it was shaping up to be pretty interesting. It still was at the end. But, I was just curious to see how that, I don't know, other group situation was going to work out.
All right, man. Well, before I let you go, is there anybody you want to thank, any sponsors you want to shout out that may have been watching the stream here tonight?
I want to thank you guys for helping out in the booth. If y'all don't mind doing us a favor, hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel homepage. It's free. Trying to get to 1,000 now, so we appreciate it. I want to thank our servicemen and women, my friends, family, team, everybody that tunes in to watch, shows up to race. And if you want to check us out, just head on over to racerselite.com. You can find all of our info there, schedule, standings, Discord invites, the whole 9 yards. And congrats again to Truth.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you go. Good job coming home third tonight, man.
Yeah, thanks, fellas.
And it was Andrew Teff, the third place driver. We will bring in the second place driver if he's in here, and Jack Kelly, Ellen Man Mafia. Hey, Jack, this is Bryson Brandon in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh. So, you come home second there, fall just a little bit short. You qualified 28th, though. How did the race go for you overall, though, man? Because it seemed like towards the end you were in contention there a lot.
Yeah, I lost the draft there and was coming up through the middle, and that caution, I guess, helped me out a lot because got back up front. I didn't pit and just let her all on the line there.
So how did that, the fuel strategy there at the end mess with you? Because I know everybody else was on different fuel, and that they kind of had to make one pit stop. Some had to make a pit stop and a half. So, how did that affect your strategy there at the end of it?
Well, I looked down. I had I had 8 laps to go on my fuel, and I was like, well, unless we crash it up a lot, I mean, I was gonna be okay, but I guess I just got lucky. Right place or right time, huh? Sometimes that's how it works.
Yeah, that's kind of how super speedways come to be. Let me look at the points real quick, because how does this get to season 4? Knowing that we're 4 races in, and you're sitting. Where are you sitting in the points right now? I gotta figure that out. I don't know where it is. Let me find that real quickly. So you're sitting right now in points. Yes. Oh, actually, you were on the cut line. You were tied with Davis. That puts you in. So, how does that, make you relax for the rest of the season, knowing that you're not going to have to fight points-wise for a playoff position?
My God, you kidding me? I was stressed out all night. Yeah, that's a good feeling, actually. Yeah, it's a good feeling.
It definitely is good to kind of take that load off you. But before I let you go, is there anybody you want to thank, any sponsors you want to shout out that may have been watching the stream here tonight?
I'd like to apologize there towards the end of the race to number 3. I think I maybe got into him a little bit, but racing hard and Shout out to Andrew for letting me race here, and Steve Castle for getting me in this thing. And yeah, it's been a blast. Appreciate everybody. I appreciate you, and yeah, it's just been fun.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you go. Good job coming home second tonight, man.
Thank you. Have a good night.
It's Jack Kelly, the second place driver. We will bring in the race winner in Truth Hoke. Hey, Truth, this is Bryson Brandon in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yes, sir.
Man, so you come on with the win there after the seas literally parted for you to go through the middle there at that wreck that was basically in your lap. How did the race go for you overall, though, man? Because you were 2 feet away from having it ended there at one point.
It went pretty good. I had like I said, I had some good luck tonight and avoided a couple. But Troy and Andrew and Kirby and Aaron, teammates tonight, really worked good and kept me in it. Just like I said, I got my luck. Just hope I didn't use all my luck up,
So how nervous were you there towards the end? Because y'all were going side by side with each other, and that you were not catching that group, and that, I don't know where y'all just shot out of a cannon and caught up to him, but you guys were not catching them before you got it sorted out.
Yeah, it's like I don't know who was in the 14 load up. Can't remember his name. But me and him got hooked up, and it was like we come through there and we cutting into it real good, and then I want to kind of stall, like he said, and then once we got by those trucks on the outside a little bit, we started picking up more steam, and I don't think the trucks up front was as tight. But then we got our head of steam back. I just got, like I said, I got lucky, especially that big one on the back on the last caution.
Yeah, so what was going through your head really that last lap coming through the tri-oval? Because that's where everything seems to happen at super speedways.
Yeah, I had my teammate Troy behind me pushing. He got some fun there. I was just holding on because he's committed to pushing me, and I was hoping just get to the line.
All right, man. Well,
He got some fun.
Before I let you go, is there anybody you want to thank, any sponsors you want to shout out that may have been watching the stream here tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my wife for supporting me with this. Team Misfit, Troy and Jesse, Christopher and Aaron and Lee and all of them. And then tonight, Andrew and Kirby and Aaron. But I'd like to thank Andrew for putting on such great races and having a great league, and you guys for broadcasting. Can't wait to watch it back, because the last one I watched, you guys really, really good.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you go. Good job coming home with the win tonight, man.
Thank you very much. You have a good one.
That was Truth Hoke, the race winner. I will go over the top 3. Truth Hoke first, Jack Kelly second, and Andrew Teft third. Not a bad race overall. What did you see from your point of view, Brandon, there in the race?
Yeah, I think it was an exceptional race, really. We had a couple of cautions back to back there for a little bit, but then the racing really picked up and took off. I think the race-winning move of the night, really, for Truth, was when those seas parted, right? And he was able to sneak through there, and then, that's kind of where you want to be. You got to have a little luck to win these races, and so I think, all in all, I thought we seen an exceptional race, and it's got me pumped up and excited and ready to go for Sunday.
Yes, it'll definitely be an interesting Sunday in the next gens for these guys, but not a bad race. Next week, I think they'll be at Daytona, and I think it's the Gen 4, so that will be interesting, but I'm not going to keep y'all here any longer. I will let y'all go. Hopefully, we will see you on Sunday.